Right now, we want to get to that breaking news that we've been following here throughout the morning. We know at this moment that one person is in custody after a shootout with police this morning. Let's go out live now to that news conference and listen in.
The commander of Force Investigations. Before Major Bachstruck gets into the facts that we know him at this time, every day St. Louis police officers heroically answer the call for service. They do that not knowing the dangers that they might face. Today, we almost had an officer killed. Gunfire nearly striking that officer. Thankfully, they're going to be going home to their families. It was a very, very close call. Major Bachstruck will get into some of those details and will be able to share with you how some of the responding officers may have saved their colleague's life today. And so everything we will share is preliminary. It could change. But St. Louis should be very honored and proud knowing that officers answered that call, were fired upon, but did not give up in that fight to take a suspect into custody. Major Bachstruck will give you an update.
Good morning. So just after 5:30 this morning, officers responded to a call for shots fired inside of this building located in the 1600 block of Hampton. In this apartment complex, the officers responded, entered, and started their investigation. A third officer then responded to assist the original two officers that were already inside the building. As he approached, he parked out here on the street right in front of the building and observed a white male subject approaching the building armed with a firearm. At that point, he told the officers inside that there was a white male approaching the front door armed with a firearm. Those officers began to respond towards that door to investigate the information they just received. The officer outside was constantly giving demands to that individual to drop the firearm. He ignored them and proceeded towards the door. At that moment, the officers inside opened the door and were immediately fired upon by the suspect. They shut the door and retreated back inside when the officer outside again gave demands for him to drop the gun. As he was fleeing towards him, running away from the front door and running towards him and around the building, that officer fired rounds at the suspect. The suspect was not struck and eventually surrendered to police in the parking lot of that building. We continued with the investigation, and it is revealed that that suspect resides in this apartment complex. It is believed that he entered a neighbor's apartment that was unoccupied. It is unknown if he knew it was unoccupied. He found that neighbor's firearm, used that firearm inside that apartment. He discharged several rounds inside that apartment and then left that apartment. He went to another neighbor's apartment, fired numerous rounds into that door and door lock, attempting to gain entry into that apartment that was occupied by a couple. He failed to make entry into that apartment, and we believe that he exited out the back door and then circled back around to investigate what police officers were doing. So that is what our initial investigation is leaning towards. We are happy today to say that no officers were injured in this incident, that there is no continued threat to the community, that that subject is in custody, and that all of the victims inside this building on the same floor that resides with this individual, this suspect, are all okay today. And we will continue with this investigation. We will commit to applying with the Circuit Attorney's Office, and we'll continue our investigation.
Before we get into questions, just a couple of things that some of the responding officers responded. They were injured while responding because they were climbing the fence. This is appears to be a very secure apartment building with the fence, and you have to have a door code. Well, their fellow partners knew that shots were being fired at them, and that shots at that point had been also fired at police. And so officers responding, climbing the fence, one has a puncture wound to his hand, another has cuts, They were evaluated by the St. Louis Fire Department, but they were not seriously injured. Those were some of the things that you guys saw this morning with officers that were being treated. And the suspect's weapon has also been recovered. So we will open it up to questions, but also keep in mind things are still actively evolving from an investigation standpoint, while still working with the circuit attorney's office to make sure that this person who fired shots at police officers today is held in custody.
So what I can tell you right now is the suspect is in custody. He is believed to be in his late 30s or early 30s. We have the officer that discharged his firearm has 1 year of service. He is 38 years old. And the two other officers that were shot at, one has 3 years of service and the other has about 5.5 years of service.
We'll open up to some questions.
Did you know what prompted this person to do this? Was he after people in the apartments? Do you have any idea about what?
Well, it's obvious that he was after people in the apartment building, or it appears to be obvious. But the motivation behind it, we do not know yet. He will be interviewed today if he's willing to share his information, but right now we haven't gotten that far in the investigation.
It's got to be terrifying for your officers. I mean, as Mitch was saying, they come to what amounts to like a domestic dispute, it sounds like, of some sort.
They actually got the call for shots fired. But when they got in there, they had cleared the building and believed they were safe because the building was clear. They didn't locate anyone. That's when he came back to the scene. So he had already left the scene and circled around and came back.
What does it say about the officers, the risk they face coming to scenes like this?
Our officers are in danger every moment during their job. It's to stay on alert and to serve the community, but we have to realize there is inherent danger to this occupation, and we're just grateful that they're safe today.
There was some damage to the front windshield of the police SUV that they were photographing. Was that a bullet hole in the front there, or what was that?
I still have to look into all that. It's a very large ongoing scene, and I need to look into all that to ensure that everything, I don't have the answer to that right now.
Was this contained to like the first floor of the building, or which floor were these apartments that he was trying to break into?
They're actually kind of a basement apartment complex, so I think their first floor is basement level.
The apartment you broke into first, was that his or was that somebody else?
No, he lives, there's 4 units on that floor. He broke into one, found their pistol, and then went into, tried to gain entry into another one, and then left.
It's good to know that the officers are okay and that suspect is now in custody. We're going to step aside right now and come back with Gary.